Today is December 14th, and the Yankees have signed no one. They've done nothing. There's no real news, but there are some updates, and we'll get into those. Thank you very much. That's so loud. It's Talkin' Yanks. Let's talk Yanks.
Talking Yanks with old Jomboy Jake. Recaps galore and weekly awards. Stat lines, steaming hot takes. Your Yankees news with these two fine dudes. It's time for Talkin' Yanks. Talkin' Yanks with old Jomboy Jake. Talkin' Yanks with old Jomboy Jake.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Yanks. Thank you very much for tuning in. We hope you had a fantastic weekend, and we are ready to tell you what's going on in Yankees land. It's not much, but there's some conversations to be had. I think we're going to have some voicemails at the end of the show, some Cashman quotes to discuss. We'll see. My name's Jimmy. Sitting next to me is Jake. In the corner, we got Bug Dude, and this is Talkin' Yanks. It's brought to you today by another program on the network called Jomboy Jake Radio. And we figure this is the perfect place to let you know, if you don't know, that every Wednesday at noon, Jake and I, actually it's right before we record Talkin' Yanks on Wednesdays, Jake and I sit down for a nice long session. We recap our lives, what's going on. We talk to the audience. We talk about weird news stories. We usually rank something. We've ranked juices, M&Ms. There's been a lot of rankings.
Did cereal last week.
Cereal. We also answer questions, mailbag questions. So yeah, I figure Talkin' Yanks, people listen to you and I talk for a while. Maybe if there's no Yankee stuff going on, they can check out Jomboy Jake Radio. It's got, it goes live on the YouTube channel, Jomboy Jake TV, and it's got its own podcast feed. So go check it out. Jake, how you doing?
And I'm Jake. Good morning. Good afternoon. Whenever you're listening. I guess good evening would be the last option. Doing well. Jimmer Fredette sneaking up on the Honda days pretty quickly here. And yeah,
I drive a Honda, so I'd appreciate if you didn't pun their name.
I think they'd appreciate if we did.
No. Maybe I'm beefing with them.
Okay. We have beef with Bleep. I'm doing all right, man. Holidays, not a lot of movement in baseball, not a lot of movement for the Yankees. I'm doing okay. Starting to get a little nervous about the Yankees offseason, as I think we're about to talk about a little bit with some of the quotes and a call or two. But I don't know. Generally well. Got some new Jomboy Media swag ad. Not for Honda.
We already did the ad for Honda. Buy everyone a Honda for the holidays.
So I'm going to be rocking that a lot. I'm going to be a sweater guy, and I don't look great in a sweater because, I mean, it doesn't...
Ooh, disagree.
It doesn't define my body well. But what it's going to be good for, it's going to be good for is, you know, now that I'm Peloton Gang, Fit Fam, all of it, just all of them.
Yes.
All of the hashtags that are healthy. Hashtag healthy.
Hashtag.
That's a hilarious hashtag.
Just healthy?
Healthy.
I bet if you went to Instagram and searched the hashtag healthy,
God.
You'd run into all of the worst people in the world.
A lot of unhealthy. Yeah, we'll...
Oh, no, I'm healthy people, but just like, that's all they talk about.
Sure. So I think, but what's going to happen is, you know, I'm going to wear sweaters for like 3 months, and then when February, you know, spring training rolls around, I'll be in Tampa, tank top, tweet like Clint, body just popping.
I don't think we're going to have a spring training.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I think we're canceling all our plans. I don't think we're having a full 162 either. Yankees,
Hey.
you're down? Are you more down than last Monday when we talked
Yes.
Yankees?
Yes.
Okay. Because at one point, like I'm enjoying riding your wave because you were bullish.
That's what it's all about. That's sports, man.
You were like bullish a month ago.
Yeah.
And now you're teetering. I wonder if there's anything by Christmas, the holidays, because I think next Monday,
Sure.
you're going to talk yourself into a Christmas signing. Like the Yankees are going to sign DJ at Christmas and get excited about it.
I mean, I can see that. My DJ meter hasn't swung that much. I think it's just...
You're still 90?
Yeah, I'm around there.
Okay.
It's not that wavering. I think the thing that becomes interesting, and you have led down this path before, is the more time that passes, it almost feels like more options open up, and it's It's getting creative with money, and I know the big quote going around now is the $25 million gap between DJ and the Yankees. That's a little deceptive. I mean, basically the gap is a year.
That did nothing for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically where we've been.
4 years, 5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
If anything, it made me think they're getting a lot closer.
Yes.
Yeah.
If any way I lean from that headline, it's like, oh, they're pretty close.
Yeah, they're a year off, and hey, figure out if it's an option or not. You know, who knows what kind of money? I mean, the Yankees don't have a lot of ground to stand on options with what they just did to Happ. And
well, let's get into the DJ talk right away.
We're here.
The update is that he's asking for 5/100, or no, to walk everyone through it. The Yankees offered 4 years, 70, was it around there?
That's the rumor,
468. Yeah. The rumor, they countered with 5 years, 125 is also the rumor, and they want to get to 5 years at 100. They're $25 million off. So 4 years, $75 million, 5 years, $100 million. Those are probably the two offers right there. They're trying to figure it out. There's such creative ways to fix that gap, like you just said. You do 4 years, 75, with an option for a $20 million fifth season, and if the Yankees don't want him for 25, then they buy him out for 8.
Yeah.
So there's still a way that he would then be looking at 82 guaranteed $1 million. Like, so when that announcement came out, because you can get fancy with that fifth year, I think I didn't move me. It actually upped me to like, they're going to figure that out.
I like that. What do you think of Beeper? I see.
You also do like the Zach Britton thing, like after the third year, the Yankees want to guarantee the fifth, and if they don't do that, can DJ opt out, get the buyout, whatever it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get creative with it. I think the only thing with DJ is, and comparing it to Zach Britton, is that Britton was coming off of a weird injury, and he still kind of had closing potential. So it was, how's he going to fit to New York? Like he could still kind of have another, third to his career. If DJ LeMahieu gets to year 3 and he's 35 years old, even if he's still raking, it will never project well from there. So I mean, DJ's next contract is his next contract. Okay, hot takes early, and I think it's kind of it. So the question is another team, is the Nationals or the Blue Jays going to go 5 years locked in at $100 or around 100? Because I think the Yankees are trying to do everything they can to avoid that. Because, Jimmy, that's when the discussion gets really interesting. And when you start sitting in the GM chair, does it become a DJ versus Lindor type conversation? And are there better ways to spend the money? Say DJ's first year is 20 or 22 or whatever it ends up landing at. I think Lindor is going to be 18 this year. So if the trade package was there, do you get Lindor, which, the Gleyber quote we'll talk about in a little bit, and then can you use that DJ money to extend Lindor for $22 million for 7 years? Like the GM brain really starts spinning, because the Yankees also have some other needs, which when you look at the pitching staff and the relief, there's options. I wouldn't say they're first world problems. A lot of teams would still like to have some of the pitchers the Yankees have, but they still have some holes that they need to figure out in the rotation and the bullpen, that there should be some bargain bin shopping this year amongst all teams, and a lot of one-year contracts due to the CBA. So, I mean, if you scrounge, an extra $4 million here or $5 million here, that could be an impact reliever for a season. So I wonder where Cashman's head's at.
How much Yankees fans love DJ, and how much he's been fantastic in the pushback.
Incredible.
And I've talked a lot about the public pressure. You can talk yourself into a better plan, and you kind of just did, without paying DJ very easily.
Yeah.
The Yankees pitching is much more of a concern. So, and especially if you can slide Gleyber to second, you can plug Didi or Simmons for 1 year at short on a pillow prove it year. 1 year, $12 million. You know what I mean? 1 year, $10 million for Simmons. If you do that, now you got great defense at short. Gleyber's got a home at second. Then you can use the $90 million that you're not giving to DJ and save it for Lindor, like you said, or go get a ton of relievers right now. Go get 4 relievers for $10 million each for one, go get Brad Hand, go get Archie Bradley, go get Liam Hendricks, allot $60 million to those guys for 2 years each. Yeah. You can talk yourself into a plan without DJ really easily. Like, obviously we love DJ and we want him back, and I do want DJ back. But I'm worried that DJ's camp gives the Yankees too much time to make their plan B, that they fall in love with their plan B.
Yeah, and that's I'll be interested to see, because you've as you mentioned the roller coaster ride. You've seen me getting pulled in different directions. I just feel like say the DJ thing works out, the Nats or the Blue Jays or whoever else is in the mix isn't going to offer the 5th year guaranteed, so pretty much everything's equal. He's coming back. We're happy. DJ's been incredible for us, like unreal good. What's the Michael K quote? Like, another 2-hit game for LeMahieu. How many times have we heard that? That was like a weird Brian Hoke, bad Sterling getting shot in the woods impression. If DJ LeMahieu's back, pass him. Pass him, bomb.
Not really Yankees, but Hunter Renfroe to the Red Sox.
Huge.
That's awesome.
Your guy.
We got a guy who can't hit curveballs in the AL East.
Just running into walls.
Let's do it.
Cool that we don't have Hap anymore.
Is he going to play right field?
I mean, it's just passing reporting that
the amount of time he's going to flip himself over that short wall is incredible.
That's good. That's going to be good content. Yeah, man. Because the other thing where I fully get lost in this, Jimmy, is like the Schwarber thing. That, he's been on the Yankees' eyes for a while. And it's, okay, we don't really have a spot for Schwarber. Guess what? Our depth sucked last year. I mean, if you can find a way to have Schwarber be your 10th man of sorts, whether it's a 1-year 7 or I don't know what kind of money he's getting. Maybe he gets a nice 2-year contract or something. I don't know. He's coming off a bad year, and he has one position as of now. But this Yankees team needs some depth. And if DJ gets signed, I wonder, we just had that great interview with Adam Ottavino, flex on us. Does that mean Ottavino gets moved out with a prospect or something so they can use money elsewhere? Cashman's formula gets tricky, and without a $22 million per year contract to LeMahieu, it does open up the board more. There is a nice board with LeMahieu. Don't get me wrong on that. But it is open to other options. It's just tough for me to picture the Blue Jays or the Nats doing the 5th year with DJ.
Yeah, I think the Yankees are... I think Cashman, because he's not terrified of Plan B.
Right.
And the fans aren't running the team. I think I think they want DJ to go shop himself to other teams.
Yeah.
And say, tell us what you found and come back. Because DJ's agent is going to come back to the Yankees before they sign anything. Yes. You know it. DJ wants to come back.
Machado did that when the Yankees weren't interested in him.
Yes. Every team does that. Yeah. They check with the Yankees at the last second.
Did that, yeah.
Harper did that too. So there's no point in Cashman inching any bit further until DJ goes and checks everyone else. So if he says, we're not budging from $75 million, well, we're not budging right now.
Yeah.
If you go out there and you find another team that's going to give you 5 years, 100, then we'll have to come back and we'll counter. But there's a lot of time. So I'm not worried about any of the updates right now. I'm also talking myself into Plan B a little bit because it does get... If they sign DJ for 5 years, $100 million, what else do they do? Nothing, because the rotation isn't good right now. It's not... And that... It's not a playoff-ready rotation.
Yeah.
I love... If you give me 2017 Severino, 2019 Herman, 2017 Montgomery, and Cole, those 4, that's a really good top 4. You're not getting those seasons from those 3 guys.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Maybe one. Maybe one would be good. And then, I like Davey, but who did we just talk to that said this, and it was true? Davey's not pitching 100 innings next year.
Right.
He's not pitching it a lot at all. Same with King. Same with Clark.
King.
None of these guys are okay, you're in the 5th spot for the full year. they got a lot of problems at starting pitcher. I still think they go do a grab bag of these guys, Gleyber, Felix Hernandez, Garrett Richardson.
Garrett
Richards.
And they could still do that either way. And I know the other name in that group that me and Kay were on a little bit is James Paxton. If it all works out, like he's been here, he knows the situation. You do have the injury risk again, but again, your starting pitchers are always measured weird. We always say 7 or 8. You need that going into a season. This year is going to be 8 or 9. Eno Saris is the one that brought this up, that a lot of pitchers weren't stretched out last year.
Yeah.
So, if whatever it looks like, the Yankees need to go get some bargain bin pitching anyways. The caliber of that probably depends on DJ LeMahieu, and that's where, on the high end, I can still get myself hyped up. On the high end, it is we're bringing back LeMahieu, and then there's going to be so many one-year contracts this year that Cashman can talk Hal into getting a bunch of one-year guys and say, hey, this is the one-year plan. All these guys are off the books next year. It's kind of bargain bin shopping. How many teams are going to be really going for it this year? Like, that was the excitement last offseason from Baseball Scope. It was all of these teams are going with it. This is awesome for baseball. The whole Central divisions, 10 teams have ruled themselves out. We're good. The teams that are going out and buying guys are potentially the Yankees. We'll see. They could also not. This is the high end. Apparently, the Blue Jays are in, the Mets are in on guys, the Nationals are in on guys, and the 2 LA teams have money. Am I really missing anyone?
No.
Astros might do something.
They have a lot of money.
There's 7.
I don't think they're in the pitching market.
There's
as much.
7 teams in the market for big free agent names. Everyone wants to be bargain bin shopping, and hey, again, this is Jake, shower thoughts. Best case is that the Yankees do some recruiting and they say, hey, if you're going to be doing 1 year somewhere, come somewhere you have a chance to win a ring, you're going to get the same thing and build up your value. On the other end, they could not do a lot. They could just be bargain binning, which isn't exciting. We'll be talking ourselves into a lot of young pitcher growth.
Yeah, I don't even know who else there is. Like, Kinger was great. None of these guys are going to be rotation pieces. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a lot to think about because I'm talking myself into Plan B, like more and more. Like, if the Plan B does include going and getting a bunch of relievers and a starter or two,
right? It's
not bad.
Yeah. No, I mean there is a vagabond plan with a Didi/Simmons, 2 relievers, 2 starting pitchers, like that could really work and fill out the team a lot more. That team is nervous, and again, we're not putting down DJ's accomplishments at all. He very much deserves to get paid, and I think the other thing that still has me very high on the DJ stuff as we wonder a Plan B is that he is worth more to the Yankees. That short porch makes him a power hitter. Like, there are not a lot of those DJ right field homers are either doubles or outs at a lot of other stadiums. So it still seems like it's going to come together. That $25 million off is a deceptive headline.
Yes. We walked through that pretty easily. We're smart as hell.
Smart as hell.
Smartest people in this room.
Smart as hell.
Besides BBD.
Yeah.
Might be smarter than us.
He is low-key smart.
Yeah. Well, he saved people's lives.
Like, his parents wanted him to, like, do big stuff.
Now he sits in a sweaty
Now he
box.
smells our farts with us.
They've come to terms with it, but imagine how the extended family feels.
Yeah. They struggle.
Such a disappointment.
They strugle. They struggle.
Every single family gathering. So what do you do now?
So it's podcasts.
What's that?
I still don't get it.
It exists.
It exists.
We have some quotes about Gleyber here. Let's see if I can pull them up.
Gleyber.
And to be let everyone know, this is like a minute-long clip from Yes Network. We'll play it. Meredith and Cash talking. I haven't heard this. I've seen the quotes. I've read them. I have not heard the tone in which he says it. But here's Brian Cashman talking about Gleyber at second versus short.
We saw Gleyber Torres full-time at short last season. He had some struggles defensively. Do you feel as though he can be a successful major league shortstop, or do you consider moving him to second base?
I think he can do both. I think he's a better second baseman than shortstop. I think that he can play shortstop. I think that ultimately he struggled in the beginning of the pandemic 60-game season because he, after the spring training 1 shutdown into spring training 2, he did not, and I'm not playing a blame game, but he wasn't in the best shape to start the second spring training. So upon his return from the shutdown, we spent a little bit of a first half of the season playing catch up. Maybe it was the first 40 or 45 games of the season playing catch up. And once we got him back online and in shape, you saw towards the last 20 games, including the playoffs, the Gleyber Torres we're used to seeing. So I think the season that overall he had isn't representing what he really is. It's more along the lines of what you saw in the postseason and what you saw the previous year, which anybody would want. So he's more than capable of playing short, but I acknowledge he's a better second baseman than a shortstop.
All right, that's kind of a very confusing soundbite from Cash. One, he opened with he's better at second than short, and he closed with he's better at second than short. And I think there's a reason that he even said that, because no need to say it, really. Was he better in the playoffs and towards the end of the season? I remember clenching my butt nonstop.
He was a little better.
Weren't there some throws like down the stretch and in the playoffs that were bad that Voit had to save him on?
I think down the stretch, you're right. I don't remember. I remember a couple throws happening. Don't remember specifics. Playoffs, nothing happened.
He made some plays, and
error.
yeah, he did what we asked of him from shortstop. And again, the bar got set. The bar got set lower this year, and I think we made ourselves a little nervous. But I think he was better in the playoffs, and also the timing of this. I think this was Cashman. I mean, I think if we got Cashman after this press conference, he would have given us a bow. Because A, he gets to take a shot at Gleyber and say, you were out of shape. And you used to be 22, just turned 23, 24.
I don't subscribe to that thought. All his errors are
lazy.
But not because you're out of physical shape. He just doesn't take the time.
He's showing off for his buddies. It's like backhand, fire sidearm, and you're like, do the footwork and make the throw.
Yeah.
And it looks good.
So
lazy's not the right word. It's like showman almost.
He'd rather look like Cano and make a play than look like Pedroia and make a play. And I think he needs a little more Pedroia in him than Cano.
Yeah, so, and again, that's where I think this is a Cashman twofold, because he gets to take some shots at Gleyber and hammer home that, well, he's a better second baseman than a shortstop, and he's got to get in better shape. So he gets to take a couple easy jabs at Gleyber, and it's like, prove me wrong. 24 years old. Your shape shouldn't be an issue at all. And, Jim, this is happening during the DJ negotiations. So the timing of this was a little bit of Cashman's artistry.
I do agree with that. Yeah. Like, well, DJ's camp being like,
Gleyber's better at second.
He is.
He is.
I'm talking myself into being perfectly fine with DJ not coming back, which I didn't expect myself to be. I'll come down from it because I love DJ and he's vital. And it depends on what they do with the DJ money.
That's...
if they don't do, we get into, I think it's a call later on in the show.
And that's it kind of tying our first conversation together. It's whether you want to do it in fantasy sports or real life or whatever it is, the word is value. And it's like, DJ LeMahieu's awesome. But in our head, the plan B is Lindor, Liam Hendricks, and Tanaka. And it's like, well, I'd make that trade, So that's where we're starting to blind ourselves a little bit. Because that's probably very much not the plan B.
No. If they have $100 million to spend, or they're spending it on DJ, right?
Yeah. I'm an AAV guy, you know that.
You're fucking talking me into
that.
Hendricks, Tanaka. and Lindor.
We're not getting Hendricks. Lindor, no. Didi. More value at the stadium.
I'm going to tweet that out and see what people say.
Tweet
What makes the Yankees better? DJ for 5 years and no one else, or another starting pitcher, 2 relievers, and being able to spend money on the shortstop position next offseason?
Yeah.
It's not as lopsided as...
No. I mean, it would be on Twitter just because people are endeared to DJ and it's the internet.
I think it opened some eyes.
But a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah. All right, we have another soundboard quote from Cashman, and this time it's about Gary.
Spring training, whenever that may be, thinking Gary Sanchez is your number one catcher?
Yeah, I think going into the season next year, we'll let it play out regardless. But there's certainly an anticipation and expectation of a bounce back for Gary Sanchez. The talent level is there. We're only a year removed from what an all-star, American League all-star catcher, a perennial 30-plus home run hitter. In fact, he probably would have been on pace regardless of how poorly he swung the bat this year. He would have been on pace for a 30 home run season this year if it was a normal season the way it played out. He actually led all catchers despite the swing and miss ramping up in his game this year, which was unusual for him because he's such an amazing hitter typically. But he led all catchers in exit velocity and impact. No one hit the ball harder at that position than he did in a COVID pandemic.
Oh, skipping on us, but
suffering season for him. So there's certainly hope and expectation that what we saw isn't what that is. And I think if you bounce around rosters throughout the game on the American League or National League, you're going to find and pinpoint many of well above average player or all-stars, perennial all-stars that had horrific seasons on the offensive side for some reasons to their own right. So I'm not saying we're going to give him a pass, and I'm not saying that take my word for it's an automatic that he's going to resuscitate. But we do believe that this 2020 season wasn't representing of who he really is as a player on either side of the ball, both offensive and defensive side. I think maybe if it was a 162 game, it would have played out where he could have self-corrected over the course of time. I thought he lost his confidence at the plate, and I think that might have boomeranged into his defense too. So all of these things are soundbite excuses, so to speak. You could argue if you want, but certainly we tendered him the contract because we still believe in the talent and the player, and I think the overall career he's had thus far gives us a little bit more hope.
Man, I used to be the number one Gary apologist in the land. He was my dude. And I came off it because he's been horrible, and it was absolutely dreadful. And Cash and Marley and you are just sucking me back in to being like, fuck you, everyone. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Gary's the best. But he's not. But a lot of what Cash is saying is of what we've been saying forever. Go look around at other catchers. And yeah, 2020, Gary's one of the worst in the league. But go look at some other stuff. It's not a lot of talent there. And if you can bank on Gary for cheap, you'll do it. It could screw ourselves really quickly because Gary could open up with a horrible April or May if they don't play in April. But it sucks he doesn't do that about Gleyber at short. Because if you're Gary listening to this or you hear these or whatever, you're like, fuck yeah, I am better than 2020, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Kind of pumps me up.
Yeah.
Let all the catchers and hardest hit balls. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Cash coming with the stats.
Comparing Gleyber and Gary, Gleyber had a weird start to last year, and then he ended up figuring it out. Like, he was hitting really well in the playoffs, and his defense came up enough that I think, and he's still a little younger than Gary, that Cashman just went with the twist the knife a little bit routine, just to, leave the door open for some Lindor stopgap shortstop stuff if DJ doesn't happen, but twist the knife, get a little more in shape, You're obviously better at second base than shortstop, Gleyber. Twist the knife on Gleyber. For Gary needs the love, man. Like what else are you going to tell Gary? And Marley Rivera, go check that out. And we might be bringing it on here, so maybe don't go check it out. Go check it out. But Marley was great. Like, Gary needs a little love, man. You know, he's been figuring it out. He's obviously had some injuries. He's had some bad times. Gary Sanchez knows he was horrible last year. And still, at the catcher position, some of his numbers grade out well, which is insane. And I'll bring it cross town. The Mets just signed James McCann, 4 years, $10 million a year or so, about that. 4 years, $40 million. James McCann has only been good for the past 2 seasons. 149 games the past 2 years. He's got 25 home runs and an 808 OPS. That's a 114 OPS plus. In Gary's 2019, which we're now regarding as a bad year, he had 34 homers and an 841 OPS, a 118 OPS plus. So in James McCann, the number 2 prize on the catcher free agent market this year, just got $10 million per for 4 years. Gary's bad year in 2019, for a lot of you people, was better than he's been. There aren't catchers out there. So, I get it. Gary was lost last year, and I know we're not going to go get lost in the Dominican League, but some of the highlights we've been posting, he's going the other way with the ball, and he's clearly working on things, which we were begging for last year. The hard hit numbers can get a little deceptive because they can shift on Gary. Gary's slow now. We've seen all the liners to the left field warning track right at the left fielder. Gary needs to learn a little more making that contact and spreading it out a little bit. That Houston ball, he hit into the gap to right center in the playoffs. Like Gary's best moment as a Yankee. We need more of that. And so we're in it with Gary. Like you said, Jim, I mean, 2 bad months of what we saw from Gary towards the end of last year, and it's done. But for the $5 million we're spending on him to still pretty easily be an all-star level catcher this upcoming season, but it sucks. A lot of you are just never going to be able to come with grips with Gary because he's not going to be elite defensively. Eat a bug, don't care. And then a lot of you with the offensive stuff, we're with you. When it sucks, but you better appreciate how good it is when it is good, because amongst catchers, it's unmatched when Gary Sanchez is right at the plate.
Go, Gary, go.
Go, Gary, go, man. Have fun.
Do we have any other news? Yankees aren't engaged with the pitching market. They're on DJ right now. Yeah. I mean, obviously, same thing with Cole. That's what Brett Gardner's agent told us at winter meetings last year. Hey, is he coming back? Yeah, but they got to do Cole first.
Yeah.
It's probably same thing with DJ. They probably tell people that. Hey, we're doing DJ first. We'll get to you when we get to you.
And that's, you mentioned
like we said, agents will come to the Yankees before they sign it. So if like Tanaka gets a deal from the Angels right now, the agency's going to go to the Yankees like, hey, I know you're not done with DJ yet, but we're about to sign this. And then they say, hold up, wait. You know, that's how it works.
And that's where, you mentioned the Christmas signing, and it's kind of arbitrary. Maybe New Year's, we'll see. With DJ, and we're talking about alternate plans, and it's, maybe I'll trick Kyle into making a graphic of the other pieces you can play with instead of DJ. But they might have to put a date on DJ and say like, hey man, we want you. I know you want to be here. We understand if you get that 5th year somewhere, you got to do you, but we got to know by January 1. Because otherwise, if we have to go trade for Lindor, if we have to go sign these other guys, we kind of got to know. So interested to see how that plays out. Again, $25 million off. Headline is deceptive. Still think DJ's happening. How did I end up here?
Who are some other free agent relievers right now? Sergio Romo.
Free agent relievers.
I put out my thing. Oh my God.
What was that?
CBS doing autoplay.
All right, relievers out there. Liam Hendricks, Brad Hand, Alex Colomé, Blake Trinan, Trevor Rosenthal, Justin Wilson.
Shane Green's a free agent.
Mark Melancon, Shane Green, Kirby Yates, former Yankee farmhand. Greg Holland, Jake McGee, Sean Doolittle, Jeremy Jeffress, Tyler Clippard, your guy, Archie Bradley, Chaz Rowe, but I think he's broken.
So this guy says, give me examples. I said Tanaka, Brad Hand, Doolittle, Didi Simmons. Oh, Didi Simmons.
Done. Chase and Shreve, also a free agent. Pitched decent for the Mets last year. Brad Peacock. Don't want him, but Pedro Baez. Dodgers great.
So I'll say DJ or Tanaka, Brad Hand, Doolittle, Didi Simmons for 1 year, then Lindor, Story, and free agency.
It's a decent argument.
It is. If anything else, I'm glad that the people that are saying, just give them an open check, maybe we're making them think about it a little bit more.
A little bit.
Because, Cash and them are doing this shit.
Yeah.
Love DJ, though.
Darren O'Day, your guy.
I will celebrate if they bring DJ back.
Oh, yeah.
Be very happy. He's awesome to
He's
watch
deserved every dollar.
He's awesome to watch baseball.
Just hits,
Mm-hmm. What else do we got? We got Yankees sign Nestor Cortes.
Yeah.
Congrats to Hoodie Gleyber.
Congrats
got
to
his
Hoodie
guy.
Gleyber.
There's your depth piece.
Yeah, and that's what
Adam Warren coming back.
Dude, I had a couple people coming with what are we doing? And it's easy. It's early. If Nestor Cortes is our 9th starter next year, awesome. If he's our 6th, yes, be mad. That's not good.
No such thing as a bad minor league deal.
Sure. Yeah, let's see where Nestor is on the starting pitching depth chart. Remember Chester? Wasn't Chester 9-1?
Chester was really good. Chad and Nestor teaming up.
Basically, brothers.
But what didn't really come into play, Chester, sorry, Hoodie Gleyber, is that Nestor sucked, kind of.
Whoa.
And Chad Green was really good.
Really good.
Chad Green would go 2 scoreless. Nestor would go 3
2.1 3 earned runs.
3 earned runs.
Yeah.
And combined, it was a good start.
Yeah.
They'd combine for a quality start, but Nestor would go 3 innings, pitch 2 earned runs.
Yeah.
Chad 2-0.
I looked at his game log from that year, and it was better than I remembered.
He started off good, and then things really...
Depending on how you remember it, it's either better or worse than you remember.
Yeah.
That's
a good point.
It was overall fine.
You're taking notes on me.
Yeah.
And I like that.
But, the Chester times, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 4 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 3 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. But, combined with Chad's 2-0, they were really good.
I want to say, how many appearances did he have? Yeah, 2 to 4 innings. Nestor was out there throwing the pill. You were getting a good 44 to 58 pitches from Nestor. Some days they were good, some days they were bad.
Mm-hmm.
Chester.
I liked Chester. Adam Warren... He's back. No,
Always.
He won't be back, but he will be back.
Well, he will. But.
Lance Lynn, old friend, goes to the White Sox, and the Mets signed Brian McCann.
James McCann.
Brian's little cousin.
Yes.
Not related, though.
Not related.
Just a nickname.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right. We got any calls? I know we have some voicemails we're going to do to round out this episode.
I sent them to you right before we started.
Sent them to you before we started this. Sent them to you, my dog is gonna piss.
Emailed him?
Mm-hmm.
I do not have one.
Email, what's happening, Damon? Up on the Magic School Bus.
Sent him again.
Sent him again. to see your poll. Currently 52% option B.
Yeah, a lot of people are quote tweeting saying like, "Oh, opening my eyes," which is good. That's all I want to say is it's much harder.
It's an option.
It's a much harder. Two different plans are closer than you currently think. Anyone that's just saying, give DJ whatever he wants. Well, it's not that easy. Where Cole last year, give Cole whatever he wants. It was that easy.
Yeah.
It's not that easy this time.
DJ, like I wouldn't bet on him aging badly, but he's already 32. Like,
I don't think he's going to age
get him
badly.
5 years.
I think
he'll still be a good defender, bat the ball, whatever. The power we've seen the last 2 years probably doesn't stick all
Exit
5 years of
velo.
a deal.
And you put him at first once he can't play second.
But Gary's got all that exit velo.
Oh, yeah. All right, first voicemail.
Hey, JKBBD. Hope you guys are doing well. So I'm just thinking about the off season, and an ideal off season for me would be to re-sign DJ, get like a solid back of the end, middle of the end rotation starter, and then just upgrade our bullpen, because I think we saw that bullpen depth was an obvious problem last year. You don't know if you can fully trust Ottavino. You got Chad Green, Zach Britton, and Chapman, but that's really it. So I was thinking maybe a guy like Archie Bradley would be a good fit that we could try to go after. I know a lot of Yankee fans wanted him at the trade deadline. And then also, I just saw that Zach Wheeler, the Phillies are trying to trade Zach Wheeler. And I'm just thinking, would that be someone that the Yankees might go after, or would he be a bit out of their price range? Anyway, love the show. Go Yankees. See you guys.
So he's doing plan A and B.
Yeah.
And signing DJ and then getting everyone. We like Archie Bradley. Here's my only thing about him. They should have got him last year. What do you think Archie Bradley's going to command this season as a free agent?
So he got shot down for, what was it, 1 for 4.5, something like that? You know?
4.5, 5 or something.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I could see a team taking a chance on giving him a 2 or 3 year contract. Almost, I'll bring back another name from Yankee lore, Sonny Gray. How the Reds kind of bet on Sonny figuring it out. They gave him the 4-year deal and were like, I think he'll be good. Like Archie Bradley, he can either take 1 year and probably get 5-6 mil and pump and then get a couple-year contract, or I think a team could give him a, 3 for 14, and he just does that.
Because I think he's going to get more than what the Reds could have got him for.
Probably, and dude, that's where things get weird, man, is like there's so many bullpen guys out there and so many teams that don't want to spend, and I've got this new theory developing that like only the big market teams are going to pay for bullpen because you have all these young guys that come up and pump gas. And look at the Jonathan Holder situation. Like, I know Holder's not elite, although he will get his 1 career major league save at some point. But the Yankees would rather use someone at the major league minimum, $550K or whatever it is, than spend $1 million for Jonathan Holder because it's half the monetary risk. Like, the young guys that the Yankees have in their farm system, if they can get 90% of the results from Holder at 50% of the price, net, nobody knows what those numbers mean. So I don't know, man. I don't know how the free agent reliever market plays out. The rumor is that literally every team is going to be waiting to see how it sorts. So I don't know, man. I obviously think the Yankees need more impact arms. I think the Yankees, my other speech about the Yankees bullpen is the Yankees need to stop being the Yankees with their bullpen. Like, Chad Green has to be throwing 2 innings on the regular. And, like, that needs to be available. I think Zach Britton, if he's well rested and he throws an 8-pitch inning, give him another. Like, I think the Yankees need to be willing to adjust with those guys instead of when it's playoff time and here's Chapman in the 7th. So they need more arms. I think they're going to take flyers on guys, like when we just did that relief pitcher bullpen. Jeremy Jeffress, a guy who's really talented but got lost for a little bit.
I think the short season really changed their approach to the bullpen this year. Because Chad, in 2019 with a full season, Chad went more than one inning in 20 different games.
Right.
So I hope they go back to, if you're going to use these guys for longer in the postseason, and CeCe Sabathia said it, like, train them.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that all that was just, yeah.
Hopefully that's a 2020 thing, but yeah, man, we want bodies out there, and there really are a lot. And again, that's where optimistic Jake, there's going to be so many one-year deals that if it's 1 year to play in Detroit or 1 year to play with the Yankees, maybe the pinstripes can pay off a little bit. But again, that's optimistic thinking.
Optimistic thinking. One more question. The scariest timeline of them all.
Okay.
Jimmy, Jake, what's up? How's it going? Hope you're enjoying the off season. We need baseball back. But unfortunately, this is a scary thought, but I just had a dream the other night. The Yankees just announced they were going to tender Gary, non-tendered holder, all that stuff. What if the Yankees actually do nothing in the off season? They've done nothing at the trade deadline the last 2 years. And what if they lost so much money in this 2020 season that they actually do nothing? They're just like, okay, Cole, Monty, Herman, Davey, Clark's our rotation, put Tyler Wade as our starting second baseman. Maybe they bring back Gardner in like a 1 year, $3 million deal. But in terms of upgrades, they actually do nothing. Is there any chance of this happening? And how mad will you be if it happens? Thanks, guys. Go Yanks.
We've said from the start that this is best case scenario, that they just bring back Gardner, Tanaka, and DJ. So highly.
Well, was he saying like no DJ and Tanaka?
So it said, what if they do nothing, which I thought meant they don't get DJ.
He meant,
I believe his question is, what if they literally like just bring back Gardner on like 1
yeah,
for 3?
he mentioned because he mentioned Gardner.
Like,
I think this
nothing.
is no DJ, no Tank.
Oh, because he said no upgrading.
Yeah, I mean they're technically off the team, so I don't know. I think
But,
they
I mean,
call
the
me.
Yankees-
But also that
The Yankees are downgrading from last year. I mean, easily.
at least on paper, yeah.
Yeah, on paper, they're not going to have Paxton. He was good, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, he got hurt, but he was good. They're not going to have Tanaka, who's been a mainstay.
Domingo for Paxton. You'd probably make that trade.
Sure, but, I mean, last year, technically, you had Paxton and Domingo on the roster. He was suspended. You're supposed
Not
to have
for last year.
You're supposed to have Severino. He got hurt.
Yeah.
We're all hoping they pay. The Yankees aren't upgrading.
Yeah.
From last year's roster, they're losing. I mean, Canely got hurt. They let him go. Holder, they let go. Those guys pitched for them.
Yeah.
They're not upgrading at all. That's the problem with the DJ plan. Did you spend all your money to bring DJ back, and you're just putting out the same team as last season? There's no upgrade in the focus right now for the 2021 season from the 2019.
I guess it's the scope of it. Because Domingo should be coming in. Severino was on the team but got hurt in the original spring training, so we knew he wasn't going to be a part of the team. So we'll see how much of a factor he is. I think the big question is DJ LeMahieu, and if he doesn't come back, would the Yankees actually give Tyler Wade the keys to start off at second base? And that's where the word nothing gets a little trickier, because it's okay. Do the Yankees is nothing to you? The Yankees bring on Jason Kipnis, and I'm trying to see who would be some flyer starting pitchers. King Felix. I mean, that's actually a bigger flyer than it sounds like, because he's been old for a little while.
Let
me see.
Minor league invite.
So I mean, if it's Jason Kipnis and Mike Fiers.
Fiers is an upgrade to what they're doing. No,
I mean they've got Fiers listed as 1 year, $6 million.
He's not.
This is Fangraphs.
He's not an upgrade from last season. He's an upgrade from this current right now.
I guess where I'm getting confused in this question is by the time's playoff comes compared to start of the season.
We'll do before the trade deadline, because we don't know what's going to happen trade deadline. You would hope they would make moves, especially after 2 years of not making moves. They almost have to.
Do we think Sevy will be back? Are we penciling in Sevy?
for a couple months.
Okay.
For a month, maybe. If the season starts in May, then yes, Sevy should be ready to go. And he should be an upgrade over Hap.
Minimum.
I mean, he could be an upgrade over Tanaka, too, but it's a little tough to pencil that in.
Yeah.
Bank on it
so
right when he
off.
comes back. Missed kind of 2 years.
Remember, Hap had a good season.
Yeah.
2 bad starts and then a good season.
You know you don't have to tell me. But
I don't think there's any chance the Yankees are upgraded on the field from what they were in 2020.
I think it depends on the young guys.
Unless they go spend money, which they've been saying they don't have.
I think it depends on the young guys and if Cash has a trade up his sleeve, which I don't know. And again, that's where money shuffling comes in.
Clint, the everyday starting left fielder, that helps. But
That
he was
could
out there.
potentially be an
He was out there a
upgrade.
lot
Yeah.
for 2020.
And that's where I'm getting confused in my own head because it's like at the start compared to
Hicks,
the
a
finish.
real player. I mean, Hicks admitted that he had to completely change his swing
Yeah,
because he
those
was
quotes
playing hurt.
weren't ideal.
No, Hicks has a lot of stuff where he talks about playing through injuries or rushing back from Tommy John, and it sounds like the cool CC like throwing his arm out on the mound for his last pitch story. It sounds like he wants us to see them in that bucket, like what a warrior he is. And I've like 2 for 2 with being like, dude, what?
Yeah, for me,
not great.
the swing one wasn't that big. I think that's him. That's him just hyping himself up more for next season. Like, you know, weird year. I still didn't even feel great at the plate. Like next year, I'm gonna bring it. Yeah, man, I don't know. Give me the big guys healthy and stuff. It gets so tricky. But yeah, I mean, you're not gonna see. Like last year, the big thing was we brought in Garrett Cole, and he's the one at the top of the rotation that changes things. Yeah, it's going to depend on a lot of the young guys. When playoff times come next year, do we look at Davey as a weapon or a eh? Same with Clark. Same with Domingo. Domingo, we could be thrilled to have our number 2 starter, or he won't be a part at all. Like, there's some big question marks in the pitching staff, which when it comes to pitching, you have to assume the majority of them aren't going to be good. One of those question marks should be a good thing. Whether it's Domingo, Sevy, Davey's kind of not on the same tier, but
If you get, like I said at the start of the show, if you get those guys out there, good. You
Right.
get good Sevy, good Domingo, good Monty. And Monty's 2017 was good. People forget about that. Tommy John surgery for him. That's a great rotation, like a really good rotation. You can't bank on that at all.
No.
And then you still don't have a 4, 5, 6, 7, which you need. So
especially this year.
yeah, if the question is, and I never really thought about this, can the 2021 Yankees be an upgrade on the field from the 2020 Yankees? And I think no. I think at best it just levels out. You bring back DJ, you bring back Tanaka, Sevy or Herman's good to replace Paxton. Hap starts. Clint full season. Hicks gets better. Judge full season. Stanton full season. So it's a lot of health stuff, but we know we can't do that.
The health stuff, flip a coin. We haven't seen that yet, and that's a huge part of it. And yeah, man, I'm interested to see how much. Like, let's assume DJ happens. DJ signs 4 years, 85. Cool, just happened. I mean, from there, we're taking flyers on guys, and it's what level are those flyers? Is it John Lester? Is it Garrett Richards? Is it, like, you need to see the pieces, the chips fall a little more for me, because I think there's a way to upgrade, but Cash has to get a little creative about it.
How? Give me your best upgrade route, because I really I'm not trying to. I just
No.
really don't see it unless they don't sign DJ and they go do that crazy spending I mapped out that I don't even think is realistic.
Right, but okay, so let's say they re-sign DJ. And then there's probably a trade. Maybe it's flipping Ottavino to get off of that, and then you can turn that into 2 relievers. And then you sign a veteran starting pitcher. And then, again, I think it's, for me, where I keep getting lost in this question, is that playoff time is what matters. So not even including potential trades. I mean, if the Yankees can go in to next year's playoffs and it's Cole, Sevy, Mingo,
by playoff time they can be upgraded. So because the trade deadline,
and that's without doing trades. So I guess that's where I keep. You're right. Like off the front, you won't be able to say like
opening day roster comparison graphic. You won't be able to be like, this team is better.
Well, I mean, the lineup's going to be basically exactly the same, except what? Guardian Clint? Is that the one switch? If DJ came back.
If DJ came back, yeah.
So, I mean, that's the one switch, which, again, Clint played a lot, so we're not going to do that game. So, I mean, you're essentially getting the same lineup, maybe potentially slightly better. But, again, it'll just turn into health and who has good years, who has bad years. Pitching-wise, yeah. I mean, you're going to have to... It's tough knowing what happened, that like Paxton ended up being kind of useless last year, and we didn't have Sevy at all, and we didn't have Domingo at all. So, you know, if you can give me one veteran flyer, whether that's, you know, Garrett Richards, John Lester, Anibal Sanchez, Mike Fiers, to go along with the young guys and bank that one of them figures it out, you know, I think you can, with some health, make that team on paper better.
Yeah, but it's
maybe Johnny Lasagna turns into an actual bullpen weapon instead of the analytics team just saying he is before it happens.
Johnny Lasagna, Sessa, Mike King, and Nelson can turn in to valuable bullpen pieces. And I think the Yankees are banking on that. And you can't bank on that. But, dude, I mean, they should turn into that. Johnny Lasagna just made me mad just thinking about him. Which I shouldn't, because I see the potential.
Yeah.
But it's just infuriating.
But it's partially Johnny, partially the Yankees, man. They treated him like a high-leverage reliever when never doing it. And hopefully that's the stuff we can point at and say 2020. Stretch out Chad Green. Have him to go regular. Do the same thing with Johnny Lasagna. Have Johnny Lasagna shadow Chad Green. Do that, man.
Yeah.
Because he can. He can. Baseball.
Baseball.
Zach Wheeler got mentioned. I think the Phillies already came off of that. So.
Baseball. Oh, also, I mean, unless someone was in the comments and they're like, are you even going to talk about that Pirates rumor?
Oh, yeah.
Tyone,
I saw someone mention it.
Tyone.
Didn't pass your sniff test, you keep saying.
Tyone and
Bell
for we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, no, that would be bad.
Yeah.
I would be very mad.
You don't like that.
And Tyone does pass the sniff test in the, like buy low candidate on a guy with
taking
big
a chance.
Potential, low value pitcher.
Yeah,
he can't be like the pitcher acquisition.
If you want to plug him into one of the top 5. No, I mean that is.
And why would the Pirates?
Well, do you not like him baseball wise? Because I know the injury stuff is out there.
Injury stuff.
Because baseball wise, he was actually pretty good.
Yeah, and he came on Talking Baseball. I like him.
Yeah.
But the Yankees
can't be
not
the
bring
pitcher.
in another injury-prone pitcher.
Yeah.
They just got burned on Paxton. They've been burned on injuries for 2 years straight. You're bringing in a double Tommy John guy who hasn't pitched. We already have Severino doing that.
Yeah.
We already have, Herman's coming back from not pitching. Montgomery's coming back from. We can't just have an all post Tommy John rotation with question marks about health up and down. It can't be Cole and then 5 question marks about health. You cannot bring him in. If you're bringing in a pitcher, it needs to be someone who, you put him in the 5 and you're like, bam. Or it's someone that can start the year in the minors and work themselves up, like a King Felix or, minor league deal for spring training.
Yeah.
Or Gleyber, I think, is going to get that too, or somewhere around there. But no, if they give up any real talent for Tyone, I just think you're just making the same.
And that's
mistakes.
the question
and
again.
Bell has no fit, so that doesn't make sense at all. Voit is cheaper and better than Bell. So even if Voit can go fetch you something, it's so stupid to trade Voit right now because you have him. He's the only lock on this team that produces when healthy, is healthy more than he's unhealthy, and he's cheap.
Yeah.
Him and Gio.
Unless the Yankees finally believe in the lefty-righty stuff, which I don't think they are just now believing in that to the degree of they're getting rid of Voit.
Yeah.
And the Yankees have their DH locked up with Stanton. So that whole thing didn't pass my sniff test at all.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
Tyone passes the sniff test, and I believe they would call about it and just see if you can get him
It's
for
what's
nothing,
coming back.
but-
It's what's coming back, and it ties into what we just said about Davey and Clark. Like, even if they're good, you're not getting 150 innings out of them, and probably the same thing with Tyone. So, I mean, if we're going to start doing piggyback starters this year, and you get 80 from Tyone and 80 from Davey, like, hey, I'll take that. But we'll see. Who knows what the Yankees were offering? Who knows if it was real at all? But the Yankees and Pirates do like each other. Can we still say that? When's the last time they traded? They were hot for a little bit.
Yeah, I think
but it's
been
been
a
a
little
couple
bit.
years.
It's been a while.
I
They didn't
assume
get
New
any-
front
Pirates
office
is-
there, too.
yeah.
They didn't get anything done with Cole. So.
Yeah.
Decently close, maybe.
So close.
Yankees win the World Series if they trade Andujar and Frazier for Cole and have him for 18-19.
Could play that game. Yankees win the World Series if the Astros didn't cheat. Andujar could be an upgrade this year
Where?
on the team.
Where?
Depth piece. You're going to use depth.
Someone's getting hurt.
How? I see no way Andujar's an upgrade. From what?
From what he did last year.
Upgrade over himself.
He could be an upgrade over Ford.
over
He can be an
himself.
upgrade for the Yankees team,
Over himself. Okay.
the Yankees roster.
I was just thinking of starting 9. And, there's
Yeah.
no way Andujar upgrades to starting 9 from last year.
A lot of people
Opening
get
day,
at-bats.
you can't. Yeah. The game we've been playing.
The game we play.
All right. That's all. Goodbye. And that's all, right?
Yeah.
Good talk. Talk to myself happiness into a plan B that won't happen, and I talk myself down, and they're not going to be better
Highs
than
and
last
lows. Yeah.
year. Highs and lows.
Roller coaster season.
The sun will come out. Tanaka.
That's going to make me cry if we don't sign him.
Bet your bottom dollar with Tanaka. The sun will shine. Anyway, Tanaka.
All right, go Yanks. Tell him, Grams.
Go Yankees.